Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
I'm knee-deep in paper. There's so much here. Where do I start? Oh, man. Hi, and welcome to the Friday edition of Lynn Cullen Live. This is September 14th. The odds are you aren't listening to me live, but I hope to God that I still am when you are listening. Well, local, state, national, international, where are we going? Oh, let me start off easy. You know, when I'm just here by myself, sometimes I feel like I'm crazy talking to myself, it seems like. But so let me just start off easy. Then I'll get into it. This little item came across my purview just in the last 10 minutes, so I'm still trying to digest it. It's still stuck in my gray matter and my craw. I wish I could say I'm astonished, but of course I'm not. I'll just read it. 3 of the top elected Republicans in the state of Kansas, quote, determined they lacked sufficient evidence of President Barack Obama's birth records to decide whether to remove the Democratic nominee from the November ballot in Kansas. What? Requests were to be sent to officials in Hawaii, Arizona, and Mississippi. I'm not quite sure about the last two, in an attempt to secure copies of the president's birth records. This persists. At this point, you have top Republican officials in one of the 50 states still arguing that the president does not belong on the ballot because he's not an American, they suspect. And then you hear that, I forget what percentage of voters just in Ohio who are voting for Romney absolutely know that Barack Obama is not an American. Now, I tend to laugh when I encounter this stuff. It's so absurd. I can't help but laugh. But as I'm sure we've spoken of, there's nothing funny about it. Not when you see the numbers of people who believe it, and then the additional numbers of people for whom this is unsettling information and makes them doubt the president's citizenship. We were talking about fascists the other day with my sister, and we talked about the hallmarks of fascism. And when you start seeing these things in a state, meaning a nation state, you should get real vigilant. And many of those red flags are up and waving and have been for some time. But one of the fascistic things is the propaganda machine and the use of media to confuse and to scapegoat. And we know of the big lie. I mean, it's a method. The big lie is a method. If you're going to tell a lie, tell a big one. Because people are more inclined to believe a whopper because they just can't believe you would say that if it weren't true. If you're going to lie, lie big and lie often. Repetition, 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 repetition. And for 4 years now, even a little bit more, this has been repeated. You might not hear it. I might not hear it because we ain't drinking at that propaganda machine's trough. But a good percentage of Americans are. And that elected officials of high stature are still peddling this crap right up until the end. And I guess the part of me just wonders, do they really believe it? Do they really? Have they talked themselves into that? Because they can't deal with the president's race, so they have to make him not American. He can't possibly be the president because look at him. That is so huge in them that they're willing to suspend their own faculties of critical thinking to just make the leap that then, of course, he cannot be. And Hawaii really isn't even a state. I mean, you can just see the wires and synapses misfiring, but that this can happen to millions and millions and millions and millions of our neighbors. People you say hi to on the street. They're suffering from this affliction. Yikes! It's unsettling. Okay, so that's happening in Kansas. It's not something we have to worry about, as we know, because this can't go anywhere. He'll be on the ballot. Jesus. Hello?
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Ron from Tampa.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, I'm just wondering, is there any evidence that could exist that would ever convince these people that Barack Obama was born in Hawaii?
No, because the evidence does exist. There is a birth certificate. They refuse to acknowledge it. It doesn't look like their birth certificate, I guess.
So there's, regardless of what you present, they're always going to say that he was not born in Hawaii. Not born in Hawaii. there's no way you're ever going to convince these people otherwise.
No, I suspect not, because they need to believe this. I get that. That's the point I was trying to make. They have to believe this because they cannot get their heads around the fact that this skinny black guy who thinks he's so smart is the president of the United States.
That's the sad part. There's no amount of evidence that's going to convince these people otherwise.
Well, there was a quote I read the other day from, where was that nitwit from? He's in the Congress from Iowa, and Mitt Romney just endorsed him. And he went so far as to go to like the Library of Congress and look up on microfiche all the, birth records of everything. And yes, indeed, he acknowledged he saw two Hawaiian newspapers did have birth announcements for a little boy named Barack Obama, who was born, in Hawaii on this date. And he says, yes, those birth announcements do exist. But, he then says, but that doesn't matter. But, he says, it's conceivable that a telegram could have been sent to the papers from Kenya.
So Barack Obama's mother said, "This made me run for president someday.
Right.
I am going to telegram to the Hawaii newspapers to put an announcement in."
Oh, see, now you just jumped to the next, the next level of like where you can't believe this is true. So these people actually think that there could have been a conspiracy afoot because this child was going to potentially grow up to run for the presidency? What? It's insane.
It is.
It's flat out insane. And when you're dealing with insanity and arguing for some measure of reason, like you are, saying, well, isn't there any level of proof where you could say to them, well, see, this is definitive, notarized, blah, blah, blah. No, it won't work because you're not dealing with people for whom reality is very permeable.
Well, it reminds me of George Bush and the Iraq War. There was no evidence that you were going to provide to George Bush that Iraq didn't have weapons of mass
That's right. It doesn't matter,
It doesn't matter.
The reality doesn't matter. It's as simple as that. But if the fact that there are so many of our fellow citizens walking around with that mindset in full function in their heads is unsettling.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, well, good talking to you.
Bye. Nice talking to you. Thanks for calling from Florida. Gee whiz. It just occurred to me, what did they used to call the family values crowd, the right-wingers, before they went completely off the... What did they used to denigrate liberals and Democrats for not having a firm value, where this is right and this is wrong. And what was the term they used for the sort of wiggly way that they say that situational ethics? Is that it? Okay, it might be situational ethics. That's what's coming to mind. That, those wishy-washy liberal types, their ethics change with, the situation. They don't have a firm foundation and a compass setting to go by. They're all over the place. Yeah, this is okay, I guess, in this case, and yeah, it's okay in that case. You're not finding anything. Well, someone will know. But it just occurred to me, as I was talking to the caller, that accusation that they deployed about us in regard to our fluid, I guess, ethics can definitely be applied to them and not on their ethics, on something much broader, on reality. They're operating under situational reality. If reality as it presents itself to you is simply, to your mind, unacceptable, I refuse to accept the fact that this is happening. So you create your own reality. This man cannot be the president of the United States. He doesn't look like any of the other guys in my history books. There ain't no way. And he's got a real weird name. And, his whole provenance is so unsettling. What do you mean his mother was a Kansas farm girl and his father was, lived in a hut in Kenya? What do you mean? Can't take it in. So you simply shift over to another reality. Well, he's not an American, you know that? You just create something. So situational ethics, which I don't necessarily cop to, but situational ethics, yeah, one thing. Situational reality. Now, there's a real screwed up bunch of folks that they're capable of doing that. You see nothing under
Well, I don't think that's it. Situational ethics.
Did you find any situational ethics?
I found what it is. That moral principles can be cast aside.
Yes, moral
situations.
Yes, moral principles.
If love is best served, but unconditional love for all people.
You got to learn to use that mic, Missy.
I'm loud.
No, you're not. They didn't hear that. It's a show with microphones. Anyway, no, I think it was situational ethics. Whatever. It's how I recall it, but it doesn't matter. I just remember the attacks being incessant about our wishy-washy, mealy-mouthed sense of values. They were situational. Okay. Well, at least I take my reality black, I don't put sugar in it. I don't put cream in it. I take it straight. Hello.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey.
This is Jarrod from CMU.
Jarrod.
I was listening to your commentary about the right-wing kind of the whole thing about the birther movement and how it is that they can look at this conspiracy of this child named Barack Obama back in 1961. That there was all these efforts to create a conspiracy way back even then. And I actually had a thought as to why that makes sense for some people.
Oh, I'm dying to hear this one. What?
Well, one of when you hear about this, when you hear stories, people talking about things like that, it's like, where have you heard stories like that? Oh, that a child has.
Well, okay, yeah, like I was just saying when you said that a child was born in Bethlehem
or something.
Yeah.
Early, right then and there, where you know that this person is destined for something.
That'd be Jesus.
Where do you hear those kind of stories?
In the Bible.
Exactly. And yet, clearly, Barack Obama is not somebody who they would describe in favorable biblical terms.
No, he'd be the Antichrist.
Exactly. That this is that the people who I would assert that most of the people who are really buying into that level of the conspiracy, these are people deeply steeped in an antichrist is coming mode of thinking.
Are there really that many of them? Because, when you see the numbers of the people who buy into this birther crap, it really sets you back on your heels.
Right, but I'm talking about this specific level of the conspiracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that these people are predisposed to thinking in terms of some master preordained kind of thinking in which these types of things do happen.
They're given to apocalyptic thought and also this kind of preordained.
Yeah.
And unto us a child is given.
Yeah. That so it's like Barack Obama, the baby back in '61. Well, it makes perfect sense that there's all of this effort to hide his ultimate destiny, which is to be the Antichrist.
Oh, dear Lord in heaven.
Yeah.
Jarrod, it's 2012. We're supposedly civilized. This is supposedly like the most advanced culture in the world. Do you believe this? Do you? Isn't it humiliating?
Yeah, well, you and I have talked about this before, where, I view that these people are kind of having a certain degree of time in the sun, and I don't think this is going to last.
Well, they'll be replaced by some other nitwits, because throughout our history, there's always a bunch of idiots on the loose.
This is true, but it's also the case that if you look at the history, that they do come and go in waves.
And these guys seem to be about to self-immolate, don't they?
Well, one can always hope.
Yes.
So, anyway, I just thought I would share that.
Thank you. Well, I think that's great. And, of course, being the squishy liberal you are, you got us back to hope. We can always hope. And, yes, we will. Thank you. Thank you, Jarrod.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye. That's Jarrod Day, the history professor at Carnegie Mellon, who is the aggregator of daily news nuggets, which are just filled with wondrous stuff. And for you junkies who like somebody to do a lot of the work for you and gather in a whole bunch of interesting stuff, that would be a really good moral relativism. Thank you. What did I say? Situational ethics. Moral relativism. Sheesh, says Aaron. Moral relativism. That's what you're trying to remember. All right. Aaron, thank you. Moral relativism. But Okay. That's it. That was the accusation against us. Well, on this hand and on the other hand, and well, I really don't know, and blah, blah, blah. But my counter attack is that the guys that were making that accusation at us are now guilty of something much more egregious, which is reality relativism. I'll accept it if I want to. And if I don't want to accept it, I'll create my own. Thank you very much. You know, you should start sticking a lot of their, political polemics and screeds in the do-it-yourself aisle at the bookstore. Do-it-yourself reality. Oh, dear. Okay, so there was this... I'm going to jump all over the place today. You'll just have to keep jumping with me. Although, let me see if there's anything. Quickly, front page Wall Street Journal today, Obama has lead in 3 key states. These are the biggies, Florida, Ohio, and Virginia. If Obama takes all 3 of those states, Romney doesn't have there's no way. No way. And right now, Obama is in the lead. Those are 3 states with 3 Republican governors. And again, I just find it odd. Pennsylvania is widely believed to be in Obama's pocket, and yet we have a Republican legislature, a Republican governor. Same with Ohio. Same with Florida. I just don't understand how that works. Obama right now ahead of Romney by 7 points in Ohio, 5 points in Florida, 5 points in Virginia. And my understanding is that the pool of undecided voters is so small now that it might be that the only way Romney wins now is by somehow coaxing some people back out of, I'm going to vote for Obama, back into his camp. because there might not be enough undecideds left to worry about, or that the undecideds who are left are so obviously without any political sense or scruples or whatever. I mean, anybody hasn't figured this one out about where you want to vote. I can't quite figure that, and that maybe those people aren't going to bother voting anyway. Most Americans have quite clearly made up their mind by now. My fear is that with these continuing good poll numbers, that it might dampen the Democrats' need to get their guys to the polls, especially in states like ours that could well have this draconian new ID requirement in that will, in fact, disenfranchise or discourage thousands upon thousands of voters. So we'll see. As you know, the Supreme Court heard the case yesterday, the state Supreme Court, and we now await its ruling. If the court rises above politics, I think there's little doubt that this law should be struck down, or at the very least, an injunction applied so that it cannot, in such haste, be thrown together in advance of this national election. That, let's give it a little, what's the hurry? What's the hurry? I mean, Mike Turzai told us what the hurry was. This was done so that Pennsylvania could go to Romney. This was done specifically to depress and prevent a number of Democratic voters. It's almost treasonous. I mean, if our country is founded on any principles, isn't the right to vote, the right to have a say that it's your government, that's like sacrosanct, should be. And Republicans seem to go out of their way to trip people from exercising that right. They do it, and they've done it ever since I've been paying any attention at all. Putting out misleading booklets and flyers in poor communities or African-American communities, telling people polling places are someplace else or that the vote is to be held this day. I mean, you can't imagine, or yes, you can because you pay attention, the kinds of crap that has regularly gone on the Republican side to keep the people from voting in this so-called democratic nation, or Democrat, as they would say, nation. Okay, so there is this little item in the local paper today about a bunch of dead rich people giving a bunch of money to the Pittsburgh Foundation. All in all, $20 million going to the Pittsburgh Foundation. And I guess what got me about this is that, well, the first gifts that they mention are given by identical twin sisters, Jean and Nancy Davis, who died at the age of 97 within 4 months of each other, and who lived together in the house they were raised in on South Braddock Avenue from the time of their birth. Now that blows me away. Okay, it's 97 years in that same house, living. By the way, that house sold recently for $350,000. So it wasn't a mansion or anything. They accumulated. They loved saving their money, and they had a little nest egg from their mom apparently, and then their dad had a patent on something called, I vaguely remember this, La France whitening detergent. Oh, he held the franchise, the distribution franchise. So anyway, with what money they had, these two identical twins who never married, just stayed together, died within 4 months of each other, I mean, you have to figure in a case like that. It's just that my mind went off on, I thought, oh my God. It's sort of like being Siamese twins. Siamese twins. If one dies, the other's going to die. And if you've spent a century living together, But the odd thing about these two is that they were not inseparable. Because according to the paper, they did go off on their separate ways when they were young. They both went off to college. One earned a degree from the University of Michigan, the other from Chatham. And so they did go to different colleges. And then during World War II, they went off and served the country in different ways. One served with the USO this wouldn't have been during the war, in Germany. And the other with the Waves in the Navy. They held jobs, one as a secretary, the other as a music teacher in Tarentum. And then by the age of 40, they both stopped working. And they just stayed in their house, I guess, pretty much, and watched their money grow. And lived and lived and lived, and then died within 4 months of each other. They bequeathed, how much did they end up giving? Why don't I have it? I mean, it's millions. The daughters, the sisters, the twins gave about $9 million. So living on their little house in South Braddock, accumulated that kind, and I'm sure they probably had maybe even more, but that's what they gave the Pittsburgh Foundation. Anyway, it just sort of blew me away. Lives people live. Wow. I'd like to know more about them. Gene and Nancy Davis. And then the other gift was from, listen to these names. This is the name that drove me nuts. Junius and Zella Allen. Aren't those great names? Yes. Junius Allen married Zella. And they stayed married for a long... Not only were these people accumulators of wealth, but man, they were accumulators of years. Because Junius lasted to 2004, died at the age of 96, and Zella soldiered on and died last year at 103. So of this $20 million that goes to the Pittsburgh Foundation, the ages of the people who left the money were, 90? God. The twins were 97, Junius was 96, and Zella was 103. He, by the way, was an executive with H.J. Heinz. Here's a picture from, long ago, long ago of the twins. Gene and Nancy. Okay? Oh, man. Ooh! Who's been talking so much? I don't have Potter or Sokolowski to blame it on. I got to take a break. Bye.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual Fall Arts Preview is available now. Pick up one today for the most comprehensive arts, music, events listings, plus previews of the top shows and performances coming to the Burgh this fall. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Well, I'm going to tell you again about the Literacy Council. I mean, you've heard the spiel. You know what it does. Great work. And it requires, though, volunteers willing to come, learn how to be a tutor, and learn how to teach somebody else who wants to read and for whatever reason sort of got left by the wayside. Some of these people have some reading skills but really never learned to put it all together. Others are immigrants. There's English as a second language, which you can learn to teach. Or there's the one-on-one tutoring that I know Tom is, I think, signing up to do. The time commitment after your 12-hour training is 4 hours a week. And the people who have done it say that while they went in feeling sort of self-righteous and thinking, well, I will help change someone's life, found that it changed theirs. And in all cases, of course, for the better. So think about it. I feel like I'm offering you such a gift here. The Greater Pittsburgh Literacy Council would love to teach you how to teach others. And their phone number is 412-393-7600. They're turning people away now because, they're putting them on waiting lists. They won't turn you away, but they don't have enough tutors. 393-7600, or check them out on the internet at GPLC, Greater Pittsburgh Literacy Council.org.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Oh, boy. Aaron, who emailed a while ago that I was looking for, what was the term I was looking for? Moral relativism. Not situational ethics. Although they're a little bit alike. He has emailed again, and Jess, listen to this. Is that a gray streak in your bangs? It's very Joe Beth Williams from Poltergeist. I love it, he says. Well, okay, so it's showing already.
Barely.
It is! So here's the deal, guys. I've decided to go with full transparency. I am stopping the ridiculous coloring of my locks. And so what you see, the gray, yeah, there it is. I mean, it's getting, watch this. Wait, see. There's all around. It's just white. It is. It's white. So this is going to be so freaky for me because I never let it get to the point where I would have to look at myself with gray or white hair. And so now the choice of like letting it go. I got I'd say about half an inch grown out at this point. Yeah. It is. And the other thing that blew me away is, because I've gotten so used to this color I've been presenting myself as possessing. The other weird thing is I forgot how black my hair was. So that what I'm seeing here, which is a lot of white, but there's a lot of black, which makes this look very light. So it's very odd, and I don't know what it's going to be. My hairdresser thinks that I'm very white around my face. So that's what you're seeing. So you're seeing this, like, white thing. Yeah, it looks totally white. So it's going to be a very different thing. And I'm struggling to do this and not freak. Because to sort of like age, it ages you. I mean, you present yourself younger than you are, or you think you are by dyeing your hair. I don't know. I just decided I can't do this anymore. I'm of an age now where I thought you can, come on. You don't act your age, but you could look your age. So you're not kidding anybody. And I think maybe I'll look okay with this kind of white hair. I think I will. And who am I kidding? I mean, I ain't young stuff anymore, so what's the big deal? What I used to say is I started coloring it soon after I became a mom because the gray was definitely already on its way in. I was in my 40s. And because I was an old mother, I thought, oh, my poor kid, I'm old enough to be his grandmother, and I don't want him to deal with having not only a single mom, but that old single mom, and not only that old single mom, but that old single loudmouth Lynn Cullen mom. And I just thought there's so much to deal with there. How about if at least I'm not old? Now that sounds like I'm so concerned for him, right? Pure vanity, I can assure you. And also the fact that I was still in television. And, TV don't like no old ladies. So that's why I did it. And I'm going. It's I don't know how long it'll take to. At some point I'm going to look really odd because it'll be real from here, and then it'll be this bizarre. I don't know. So hang in there with me because it's going to be a strange year. It'll take a year, won't it, to get to any? Pretty much. Probably. At some point, I suppose I could start sort of coming up to meet it, making it shorter, but I really don't want to make it shorter. So anyway, Aaron, you get the prize for outing me. I wondered when somebody was going to say something. So there it is. It's funny how you see people looking at you who know you and don't know if they're supposed to say something or are thinking, my God, why doesn't she go get her roots are showing. Her roots. Or as we used to say in Green Bay, your roots. Your roots are showing. Okay, Dave says, looks good, go totally gray, let most of it fall out. Grow a silver beard and gain a bunch of weight, and you could be my twin sister. All right, Dave. I don't think I'm going to do the beard, though. And I don't think it's going to fall out. It's pretty good condition. Thank you. So my tresses, the raven-haired beauty is disappearing. She's melting. I'm trying to get my head around. It's hard as you age to get your head around all the things that are going on in your body. Your body changes, and not for the better. Not for the better. Although I'm pushing. I'm working on it all the time. But, the arthritis starts up. Your fingers, one of my fingers starting to look like an old lady witch finger. And you think, geez. I was getting ready to go out last night, and I put on makeup, and I was looking at myself and thinking, oh, yeah. And then I thought, God, what's that? And, there's like wrinkled skin all over. It's not easy to age. The only way I think you can age is with a really, really good sense of humor. If you don't have a sense of humor, don't do it. Don't even try. Hope you'll die young. Jesus. So there you go. I'm getting gray. I don't think it's gray. I don't think you turn gray. I think what my hair is, there's one of two possibilities with my hair right now. It's either a strand of white or it's a strand of black. And when you put the two together, maybe it comes out looking gray, but, white and black together is gray. But in fact, it's white or it's black. That's what's happening to me. And it'll be a whole different sense of who I am. Oh, anyway, enough. I can't bear these stories. There's a story in the paper about this poor man, Terrell Johnson. There he is, smiling broadly, getting out of prison, which he had been in for how many years? Some god-awful, from the time he was 20. He's now 36, I believe. So he was there he's been 17 years. 17 years of his life, half of his life, spent in prison for murder. Guess what? He didn't do it. That man. He didn't do it. And up until a few weeks or months ago, the DA here was trying to talk him. It was saying to him, look, we'll let you go. We'll let you go right now. Just cop a plea, and we'll let you go for time served. And he got that offer a number of times. He refused. Because he didn't kill anybody. He's smiling now, but I don't know if I could deal with the rage of having 20 years of my life stolen from me. And those wonderful young years, your 20s and into your 30s, gone. Gone. And I also can't believe that the state, because it was the state who put him behind bars, I can't believe the state's not liable. That if you're found to have been incarcerated for no goddamn good reason, that you shouldn't then be compensated for those 20 years, 17 years. Hello?
Hey, Lynn, Mike in Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia. I always forget where I'm at.
You don't know where you are. But you're in the good old USA now.
I am here.
Yes, you are.
Hey, did you follow the Paradise Lost West Memphis Three at all?
The who? The what? Paradise Lost what?
There's a documentary. There's 3 kids in West Memphis, Arkansas, who were wrongly convicted of killing 3 little boys.
Yes.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. There's 3 documentaries on it, and I followed it closely. I actually donated some money to their defense fund. And what they did to those kids, how the people who were involved in that aren't in jail, I have no idea.
But you read these stories all the time. There was one recently in Texas where it became clear that the DA falsified evidence, kept evidence away. How do you not turn it around and put the DA in jail and give a whole bunch of money? I know money can't get you your life back, but at least give them the money that they might have earned while they were out, plus some punitive thing on top of it.
Right. And these kids went in when they were 16 and 17.
And their big crime was what? That they looked like hippies or something.
No, that they were metalheads, and they read Stephen King novels, and they were supposed Satanists. And they were sort of goth kids before goth was in.
Yeah.
And they just completely railroaded the whole entire town. The judicial system completely railroaded them right into prison. There was a false confession. There was 6 hours of audio tape missing from the kid's confession that mysteriously disappeared from his confession, that no one ever knew what happened to it. Evidence was destroyed. I mean, it was really criminal how it was. And the kids, they just recently got off about 6 or 7 months ago with some weird plea that they were able to plead guilty, but then the state let them go.
The state refused to let them go. So they still ended up essentially saying we're guilty. They wanted out, so they were willing to do this. But
the one kid was on death row. The one of them, who was the supposed ringleader, was on death row, and the other two kids were life without the possibility of parole. And they had this plea where they had to go and say that they're pleading guilty while maintaining their innocence, which is crazy, and that they have to say that at the time of their conviction, the state had enough evidence to convict them. And basically what that meant was
they couldn't
sue. Never go back and sue the state.
That's right. They were the state didn't want them, and they finally wanted their freedom enough that they said, okay.
Right. Yeah, it was horrible what happened to those guys, too, but I follow them pretty much daily on Twitter and through their website, and it's sad what happened to them.
So imagine how many times this does happen. There are a few cases that come to our attention. This guy who got out yesterday, he doesn't have a documentary about him or anything. Imagine how many times this happens.
Yeah, well, the one kid said, if it wasn't for the documentary, I would have been dead.
That's true.
They would have put me in the electric chair. I would have been dead long time ago if it wasn't for the documentary. And I'm a proponent of the death penalty in certain cases. But boy, you change your mind a lot because you hear of all these cases where people are completely innocent, and how many people, think about it, how many people have we put to death in this country who were innocent?
One can only imagine, and we have, which is why some people say you just can't have it. I'm surprised you lived among the Dutch for all those years and it's still in favor of capital punishment in any form.
Well, the Colorado movie theater shooter.
Okay. But what? He's insane. Why kill him?
Yeah, he should be dead. He should be dead now. In my opinion, he should be dead now.
He's mentally ill.
But in other cases, it should be in extreme cases. And the Dutch, they are very tolerant when it comes to that. I think a life sentence is 21 years, 22 years over there. Which means you get out, basically.
Well,
but look at the Norwegian shooter.
I know. But he'll be in for life.
Is there any reason he should be alive?
No, he's somebody I'd like to spare the world. And, well, listen, thanks so much. Always appreciate hearing from you, Mike.
You got it, Lynn. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye. Listen, speaking of capital punishment, just a quickie here. I had not heard of this. I can't believe I hear of it through an editorial in the New York Times. This is about another incarcerated man in Pennsylvania who is scheduled to be executed in a few weeks. And apparently there's nothing standing in the way of that. And the New York Times has an editorial today on it. Why aren't I reading about it in the local paper? It says Pennsylvania's broken machinery of death. I'll just give you a little bit of this. Pennsylvania is scheduled to execute Terrence Williams on October the 3rd. Pennsylvania has sentenced more than 400 people to death since the Supreme Court reinstated capital punishment in 1976. Pennsylvania has only executed 3 after all those 3 gave up their appeals. Essentially said, I'm done, kill me. Then apparently we do. But Terrence Williams is still fighting. He does not want to die. And if we kill him, and I do say we because he will be killed in our name, he would be the first person in 50 years to be put to death in Pennsylvania while still fighting his sentence. Today, his attorneys are going to explain why his execution should be stayed and why his sentence should be commuted to life. And you can argue that actually even the commutation to life is too much, because here's what happened. The guy who testified against him, this is a murder case, the guy who testified against him has disavowed and recanted his testimony. He also has said that the police and the prosecutors put pressure on him, the witness who put this guy away, because they did not want the case to be about what it was, which is that the guy this guy did kill had sexually abused him for much of his life. The cops and prosecution didn't want anything to do with that relationship argument, so they said they made it into a robbery, and the witness went along with it. He said, okay, I'll say we were robbing him. And he obviously didn't have a good defense attorney. Anyway, the Times says the case is a shocking illustration of how Pennsylvania's machinery of death is irreparably broken. Because he was sentenced to death for killing a man during a robbery, when in fact he killed a man who had tormented him, sexually abused him from childhood. And he was convicted with absolutely tainted testimony and now recanted testimony from a guy who was with him, another defendant. Jurors in the case who signed off on the death penalty have said that they would have opposed the capital punishment sentence if they had known about the sexual abuse. Good God. Oh, do I have to take a break? I'm sorry. I have to take a break.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Future of the plastic surgery world is all about non-invasive procedures. Leading the way into the future is the Sewickley Med Spa. Do you suffer from turkey neck, droopy belly, sagging skin, or wrinkles? Well, it's time to say goodbye to these problems. Sewickley Med Spa has a new revolutionary pain-free procedure that plumps up collagen fibers to get rid of droopy, flabby skin. Call 412-259-8628 for a free consultation to see if you qualify as a candidate for this new age-reversing procedure. You'll experience immediate results after just one treatment. This procedure has been seen on news reports and in cosmetic magazines. A European secret is now at Sewickley Med Spa, the first and only credited location in the Pittsburgh area. Again, for your free consultation, call 412-259-8628. Look and feel your best by taking advantage of this clinically proven non-invasive pain-free procedure. Sewickley Med Spa, Broad Street in Sewickley.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on tickets to the Science Center, History Museum, Carnegie Museums, and some of the best restaurants in Pittsburgh. This week, get 50% off admission to Wildwood Highlands and My Little Outback. bergbargains.com. Local deals, local merchants. bergbargains.com. Get Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com now for Pittsburgh City Paper's brand new mobile app. Get the latest restaurant reviews, event listings, movie times, and of course, Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. citypapermobile.com.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
All right. I won't get to a lot of stuff I wanted to. Let's just get your emails in here before our time runs out. Robert writes, your hair will not be white nor gray. Silver is what it will be. Oh, no. And it will look great on you for sure. I love your new transparency. Well, I'm trying to deal with it. I mean, it was my decision. PJ writes, good for you. Congrats on going natural. And after all these years, you're finally catching up to Ann Devlin. Yeah, Ann Devlin, man, she started turning gray. I forgot what she told me. It was like something like at 17 or 18. I mean, and she never fought it. She just, and yeah, she was always younger than me. It still is, and has had gray hair forever. So it's just the, you know, for all my life, I've looked in a mirror and seen a face that looks relatively familiar to me, but it's been surrounded by dark black and or this phony color hair. And so to have it all of a sudden be it'll be a change, and I'll definitely look my age more. I ain't gonna look younger, that's for sure. And PJ writes, yeah, sense of humor, a good idea, and grace, and going gray is graceful. I think so too, but I'm not gonna become a proselytizer like for women who choose to do something else. That's just fine. Hi Lynn, try not to freak out about your hair. My niece is 42 and has colored her hair since she was 20. You never knew what color it would be when you saw her. One day she decided she was done and picked up a pair of scissors, put her finger against her scalp, and hacked away. She looks great, and in fact is complimented on her hair all the time. I think anytime you embrace who you are, you become more beautiful. Wow, what a nice thing to say, Bill. Have a great weekend. Well, you just made my weekend. Yeah, I'm trying to embrace who I am. And who I am is increasingly an older woman. See, here's the thing. I'm heading into a big birthday in January. And I think it was that got in my head. I thought, you're going to get a Medicare card. And when you get a Medicare card, who you kidding? You're already, scarfing up senior citizen, rebates in places that say if you're 60 or older or 60, 62. So get with the program. Stop pretending. And just be who you are. Warts and all. So we'll see. And you know what? I think that if it comes in and I like it, I'm going to kick myself for all the money I wasted. Do you know how much it costs to have somebody do your hair color? Oh, like every 5 weeks you have to have it done. Oh, and it's like $100 or more. Ah! If you were to add that up, oi, I could go on a round the world cruise in first class. And instead I chose to have this. Stupid. Okay, that'd be it. Thank you all for your support. As I turn into the old crone that I really am. I do appreciate it. Oh, and I won't be here on Monday because it's the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. And I'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll have a good 4 days to talk at each other. I hope you enjoy your beautiful fall weekend, I think, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's supposed to be. Enjoy. And would you please just sort of say a prayer for the Pirates? Because they are close to losing it all. They're at 507 now. They're dropping like a stone. Come on. Any thought about playoffs? I mean, long gone, but come on. Please say a prayer for them. I was thinking of sending them a letter they could stick on their lockers that said, "Come on, guys, you can do it! We're behind you. Still behind you." God. All right. That's it. Tuesday.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.